Welcome to Life Esteem, a program committed to deliver information that's important to you and your community. Your hosts are Nathaniel and Patricia Gadsden.
Hello and welcome to Life Esteem. Always great to have you as a viewer. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, today we're going to talk to a dynamic mother and son team here who have doing this great work. Marsha Banks is Executive Director of A Miracle for Sure, and also her son, Timothy White, is a Program Coordinator for the BARS program, which is under A Miracles for Sure, right?
Yes, yes.
Marsha, it's so good to have you here, Timothy as well. And tell us
you.
about this dynamic program called, a dynamic ministry, I'm going to call it, business called
Yes.
A Miracle for Sure.
Well, A Miracle for Sure is an organization that I started back in 2008. My vision was to provide services and supports to women and their families, particularly those whose lives have been impacted by incarceration. As you know, I am a returning citizen. I served time in prison, and my passion was to come home and be able to serve my community, and it's been an honor to do such in Dauphin County.
Well, you know, I have to just say that this young lady that came back into this community and went to Hack initially and just got totally involved in so many initiatives and things, and then went on to Penn State and just has just made such a total just turnaround and just doing wonderful things in that community. And I applaud you, and I've always respected and admired what you really have gone forth and done with your life.
But you also got recently
Thank
received
you.
your master's degree from
Capella University.
Capella
Master's
University.
degree.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Absolutely.
What a challenge.
Hey, but you did it.
Yeah,
though.
but just so
That's-
you can be done. That's it. A
That's-
miracle for sure.
Absolutely.
That's right. And Timothy, man, it's so good to have you here, brother. And
Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed. Tell us about your journey with Mom here, and also being a part of the program with the BARS program.
Yes, my mom has been doing A Miracle for Sure for many of years, and at the beginning of 2013, I decided to jump into the family business and pretty much spread the word about what I'm doing and how I want to help the men in Harrisburg.
Yeah.
The BARS program, which was created from me and my fiance, Anna Rivera, stands for Building Achievements and Raising Standards.
Fantastic.
And it's been going real good. I am a successful ex-offender. I served 5 years upstate for a crime I committed back in 2003. I'm a high school graduate here of Harrisburg High, and things are going real good.
All right. And I heard both of you talk. In fact, you were both, you attend meetings and have done tremendous work. I know you have in particular, Marsha. Now I see Timothy really stepping up to the plate here with the Successful Ex-Offenders Coalition.
Yes.
And I always say one of the most compelling speakers that I've ever heard in all that context was always Marsha, because
Thank
I
you.
thought you were so honest and so true and powerful. But then I also heard your son speak the other day, and I thought, okay, yeah, I see.
Apple don't fall too
Yeah, you
far.
know what I'm saying? Good stuff. And it's, it's because you're talking to guys who are just coming out, and a lot of them are not sure, right? They're still
Right.
kind of, and so you hit them pretty hard. You hit them right between the eyes with
Yeah,
the truth,
absolutely.
right? And what's the challenge there, Anthony, Timothy, especially around men? Because I'm always preaching about men being engaged with family and this and that. What's the challenge for men who are coming out of the system and trying to reestablish?
The challenge for most men coming out of the system is accepting help. We don't like to accept help because we feel less of a man, and we don't want to be talked down to, and we don't want to be taught things. And most of the gentlemen who are coming out are elderly. They're not a young chicken anymore. So once you get to a certain point in life, you feel as though you can't learn anything else new. And what the BARS program does is takes it back to the basics of the teaching process, and we try to let people understand that you're at this point in your life because of you need to go back to the basics.
Right.
And that's where we spend a lot of time teaching people that it's okay to learn new things at higher age.
Yeah. But Marsha, also you are doing like a, I want to call it halfway, but transitional housing?
Yes. In January of this year, we opened a transitional living place in Harrisburg off of 18th Street. And so far, so good. It's been a great opportunity. Again, we're looking to serve a population that means the most to me. And I believe that housing, employment, and those supportive needs need to be addressed. And any opportunity that I get, I wanted to be able to serve in that. So we have about 5 families that otherwise would have been considered homeless are residing within our house. And I think it's really, really important for their process in developing and becoming better people after, making those bad decisions.
What does that look like for you in regard to a Miracle for Sure? Because you're transitional housing, which I think is just applaud you again, okay, for really making that, a reality and assisting families to move forth. But when you work with the women, because you specifically spend your time and energy with women, what sorts of things do you try to instill upon them that you think is important for them to be able to move on and be successful?
Ms. Pat, I guess I want to partner with what my son said. And I mean, one of the things is that we lose our dignity and our respect for self when we make those bad decisions. Being caught up in my addiction, I was, humiliated. And I was not feeling very confident about myself. And then to go to prison, you got that stamp on your chest and people are starting to think about you different and look at you different. And it's kind of hard for us to raise our head up and say, I'm proud to be who I am today. So it starts there with working with the ladies, helping to rebuild their self-esteem and give them that support and that motivation to move forward, even beyond the bad choices that we make. And I just am committed to being a living example. And sometimes we struggle with that because you have so many people that are telling us, well, you can do this and you can do that, and why is it so difficult? But it changes the dynamics when you're talking to someone that's already experienced everything that you've experienced and is able to show you that there is life after making, some unhealthy decisions.
I was able to serve on the panel for the statewide panel for children of incarcerated parents.
Wow.
And Timothy, there's so many children out there affected and I think I heard both of you say that when a person is incarcerated, they're not incarcerated alone. I mean, it affects everybody,
Absolutely.
How did it affect you, when you think about it, being a child of an incarcerated parent, How did that affect you?
In the beginning, it was very tough because when my mom was incarcerated, I was under 10 years old. So at that point in time, I really didn't understand the girth of the situation. So I kind of felt like a vacation at that point. But when my mom came home and she started to get all of us back from, I served 3 years in child care, not child care, foster care, and that's a system of itself. And some people never get out of that system. So for my mom to come and get us when she did and bring us back into a family was amazing. And it was tough, but I didn't know the psychological effect that it had on me when I faced hard decisions as an adult. And I repeated her steps, and I never even knew her steps. So that was a weird dynamic.
And there's so many kids, like I said, young people who are being affected. And I don't know, are we addressing that issue enough?
Not enough people are addressing it.
Are the schools equipped to deal with that? Or so I don't know. Especially Marsha, I know you have been in this field now, and you've been doing a lot of work. When you look at it, what are some of the things that maybe we in community don't know, that we need to know more about this particular population and be able to be a help, to helping people who are coming back?
Well, one of the things I think that I try to do best is to help that population be comfortable with disclosing the information. Nate, there's but so much that we can do as a community, and if we don't know about the problem, we can't serve the problem. So helping people come forward and being okay with saying I made a mistake and I need help. Furthermore, is we need to go back to the basics. I mean, I just cannot say that enough, and stop believing that we have to do miraculous things to solve these problems, but we have to just care enough to be ourselves and show that through our service to those that are our neighbors. I just did a conference just a couple of weeks ago, and the theme of it was Women at the Well, and it was, who is my neighbor? And it's really that simple. Do we know who we live next door to? And if it starts with that, knocking on the door and saying hello and welcome to the neighborhood, it could begin to open up a wealth of relationships and dynamics of how we help this population. You mentioned the school. I just piloted a program within the Harrisburg School District. And I think one of the things too is getting ahead of the game. Timothy shared with you how he followed my footsteps without realizing what they were. Well, that's what we see in our young people. And we've had an opportunity to start a support program at the Harrisburg School District. We started at Melrose and Foose, where we work with young girls at 11 and 12 years old, and starting to unpack some of that stuff that's going on in the house. And it might not be incarceration right now, but it can be relationships and issues that can foster those reactions if we don't address them now. So prevention is key in our society at this point, if you ask me.
You know, it's interesting you shared that, because some years ago, through the former Hemlock Girl Scout Council, there was a program called Project Men, MEND, Mothers Empowered to Nurture Their Daughters. And there had been research that had identified and determined that girls that had access or been involved in Girl Scouting tended not to make the same choices and decisions. And I used to help coordinate that program, and I'd pick up young girls, generally around your ages, okay, from probably more the brownie to, you know, junior Girl Scouts. And they talked about just that their mothers were incarcerated. That's why we were having them be a part of this program. And the one thing that they knew that could have made a difference, and the mothers would say, if they had been involved in some sort of organization like Girl Scouts or Girls Incorporated that we had as well in some years now, and we still have the Boys and Girls Club now. But it's having those young men and women come through with the young men and just talk about different options and manners and ways to be able to move forth and not follow those footsteps that you're not aware of or didn't know. But what can I do different, and how can I be able to move forth and be a part of that?
Sure.
So those initiatives are important. And the name of your program, is like the name of your program. What's the name of your program?
Ladies First.
Ladies First.
Yes.
Yes.
And I believe that, I mean, the dynamics in that in itself, you know, teaching our young girls at that age to start seeing themselves as young ladies. One of the things, I was raised by my grandmother in the absence of my mother and father. And she always said to me, you know, it's important that you act like a lady, look like a lady, and speak like a lady. So it has to be taught. Now, even though I made some bad decisions when I grew up to become older, those things instilled in me what I needed to do when I got my brain right.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, this is the age where we need to start having that conversation with our children.
You know, one of the big issues is employment. And I had a big debate with one of our buddies who means well, and he's absolutely right in a lot of ways. Employment training is so critical, you know, because just to give a person a job is one thing, you know. But on the other hand, though, there's so many people out here who are hurting who don't have jobs right now. And if they have that record, you know, especially a felony, then it gets even more difficult. How can we convince more employers to take a chance on people coming back from the system, especially men? Have you encountered anything yourself, Timothy, or other men?
I got lucky when I was released that the hiring manager hired me upon someone else's conversation about me.
Okay.
So a lot of times it's not what you know, it's who you know.
All right.
And people need to start using their resources and networking a little bit better than they are. People think that it's okay to come out here and just job search by yourself. You really need help, you need a team, you need a mentor, you need some guidance before you're released. So people need to learn not to start when they get out, but before. And for the employer, they need to lose their conscious thought of what a felon is. Because right now it's a monster. A felon is a monster, and we're not monsters. We're people who made bad decisions. So if we can get that one person to understand that if you give this man a chance, he may surprise you. And they do have bonding programs out now where programs will endorse the felon or ex-offender. And so there's some incentives. The government's trying to catch up, but really it's about meeting the person. The application process has a lot of check marks and a lot of boxes that won't even let you get into the door of an interview. Let the man or female get in front of you. See the person for who they are and not what it is on this piece of paper.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I noticed that a lot of employers have gone to these electronic filings now. You can't even see a person.
Can't
You
even
have
see
to,
them.
you know, and like you said, those boxes just knock you out from, from the door.
But you know, that's interesting because we just heard of a young man who had similar experience and he actually got the job. He had already put on his application that he in fact did
that's right, yeah.
have a felony, but
Yep.
they did give him the job and he went to report to work and then was told that the corporate office then decided no, he could not be
Yeah.
employed there.
He had actually worked there a few weeks by that time, and then the corporate office stepped in and said, well, no, we noticed you're a felony, you got to go.
Yeah, but
And
the
that's too
hiring
bad.
folks didn't see that as a
As a problem.
as a
Yeah,
problem. So
problem.
that is just unfortunate. And that
Very
again,
unfortunate.
how does that impact that individual? I mean, here
Well,
I am.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could cause a setback. You know, and it's those little things. Again, you know, I think I struggled as if it wasn't enough for me to struggle with having the number of children that I had looking for employment, but then to get beyond my criminal charge. You know, based on my record, I'm not allowed to work for any federal, state, or local government. And that's challenging in itself. Now, here I am going to school. I have an education higher than the majority of your staff,
Yes.
and you're telling me I'm not qualified for the position, that I beg to differ. But like Timothy said, you know, there were opportunities where people were willing to look beyond the piece of paper. We always encourage our mentees to be honest. If it's for you, it will be meant for you. And take that risk and then enjoy the blessing. So I have really been blessed with being able to be employed. I don't know that I've ever been unemployed since I've been home. So
Timothy said he's there.
So, I mean, that's a blessing because, you know, sometimes, you know, being honest up front and forward has its advantages. And I just, you know, we encourage people to continue on that path so that you can, you know, be fruitfully blessed.
You know, recently there were two, we don't call them, I guess, community forums. Patty Kim, Representative Patty Kim held one at the Allison Hill Community Center, and then one over at Harrisburg Area Community College's technology program on Raleigh Street. And they were both well attended. I mean, people came out in droves. Do you think they were helpful? Do you have much hope that anything will
Absolutely.
happen? Okay.
State Representative Patty Kim is doing an amazing job
Yes, she
in starting what needs to be started. Someone
Okay.
has to start it. And the bill that she started, it specifies that it helps nonviolent offenders, you know, work toward expungement and getting things off their record. Of course, the details are very lengthy, but that's the gist of it.
Okay.
And for, you know, that would help a person of my mom, but not for me, because I have a violent offense.
Okay.
But that's fine, because I just need someone to start it, and we can finish it 20 years from now talking about the violent offenses. But there's a lot of people who exist on a non-violent plane, and are being penalized as if they murdered someone,
Right.
and it wasn't. There's no such thing as a victimless crime, and I understand that, but there has to be a process to get it off your record. Being a felon or making a mistake should not be a life sentence.
Yeah, and the life sentence was mostly it's hard to get a job, hard to sustain yourself, you know.
Absolutely.
Well, there's a
It's
number of things, not
ridiculous,
just
yeah.
jobs, it's housing. I
Well,
mean,
that's true.
there's
You're
a
right,
number of
Ms.
other
Pat.
things
Can't get
that
assistance.
there's
Yeah.
a number of things that happen as a result of that. And the other thing too, and I've heard people say this as well, is that especially for misdemeanors or other nonviolent type crimes, but go there's your eye. Because you may have been only one step away, or maybe you did something, but you weren't what?
Caught.
Caught.
Okay?
Oh, we talk that term we use.
Yeah.
There's the caught and the uncaught.
Uncaught.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
we
that-
got to really be more
that-
sensitive
yes,
and aware of and
absolutely.
understand that.
I had the opportunity of meeting with State Representative Patty Kim, and when she told me about this, and I believe it was my story that influenced the process.
All right.
And when she found out that I didn't fit in that category, I told her not to worry, you know, because like my son said, we're looking to help and assist those that come after.
Right.
You know, we are looking to prevent this from ever happening to someone else. So it's not about us. And that's key.
Yeah.
If we are focused on self, then we will accomplish little.
That's right.
You know, but when we extend our scope and start thinking about those that come around us and surround us, then we do much. So it's really important.
Is your transitional housing filled now, or do you have other availabilities? How is that working?
No, it is not full.
Okay.
We do have availability, so I encourage those that are interested to give a call. Our website has our most recent information. And then we're also trying to expand and explore, this mentoring component, partnering with the Department of Corrections.
Okay.
I'm like, who, us? How ironic is that? But it's amazing to be able to give back in that way. Being a support in mentoring, and our office is open for the computer lab. People are in and out of there every day, working on helping move themselves forward, and we're just there to offer the support. So we enjoy providing the service.
And how can people reach you again? What's the information in order to get in contact with you?
www.
Three.
What
Three
is how
Ws.
many W's
Three
is that,
Ws.
Ms. Pat?
Gotta do three.
www.amiracleforsure.org.
amiracleforsure.org.
And I say number 4.
Number 4.
The number 4.
Yeah. .org. And that way they can contact. Now, who will
Yes.
qualify? I mean, are you looking for families? You're looking for just an individual? I mean, as far as transitional housing is concerned.
At our particular status, we are just housing single women.
Single women, okay.
But the women that are residing there are women with families.
Okay.
And we're working with that reunification. They may have lost custody of their children, and they're working towards the goal of regaining their children. My kids didn't come home immediately. I had to work towards, so I stayed in a home where I was able to live by myself. So it's for those that are looking to, reconnect with their family. We are looking to open up a facility that will allow for women to come with their children, because the dynamics of that relationship is really important as well. And there's a great need at this particular time.
Fantastic, good. And how about the BARS program? What the typical client, the person that would qualify for your program, who are you looking for?
Pretty much anyone who has been released from prison recently or not recently, and is still, struggling with the basics of employment and life skills, decision making, just awareness. I started the BARS program because the powers that be wouldn't allow me to mentor young children, not young children, but young children and things of such, and because of my felon status.
Yes.
So now I speak to men like me, and I'm 29, so I consider myself a mentor and a life coach, because I want to get deeper than a mentorship. I want to be involved in a man's life, helping him through a lot of different things. I spend a lot of time teaching people things that I've never done before, and that's because once you're good at one thing, you're kind of good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
We have a program we just started which falls under the S in BARS, called Standards for Success.
Okay.
And it's a dress and appearance program.
Beautiful.
We're accepting donations of dress clothes, ties, shirts, and pants.
Nice.
Where a young man or older man could come to us, and we provide him with an outfit for that interview day.
Excellent.
So a lot of men blame not going on interviews because of their appearance. Well, we're nipping that in the bud right now. You now have a place to come get some help.
That was pointed out by Vladimir, but they had a wonderful job fair for people, especially for people who had the criminal background, whatever. And that was down at Harrisburg Area Community College's, Raleigh Street campus. And he pointed out, and I noticed that myself, that a lot of people showed up, and you thought, man, you wore that for a job interview? It's like either they didn't know or they didn't have, whatever the case might be. So that'd be a wonderful, wonderful program. Dress for Success has been doing that for women for years.
Absolutely.
And no one has captured helping the men yet.
For men, yeah. So we got to make it happen.
I'm trying my best.
But we need to talk more about that. Maybe there's some assistance. I work for the United Way of the Capital Region, which is a tremendous mission and ministry, as we all know, here in the Harrisburg area. And so, maybe there's something we can do to assist you in making that come to be.
No,
and by the way, I'd love to have you come down and speak to the men on Monday nights at the Fatherhood Academy at the United Methodist Neighborhood Center, 3rd and Kelker Street. It's every Monday night from 6:30 to 8. And we have men that are coming in from the system, from whatever. And, we're trying to get them to be better men, better fathers, the whole bit.
Yeah, I'd
And,
love to.
Love to have you come in and talk to them, sure. Yeah.
All right, I appreciate
Great,
it.
good stuff, okay. Make that happen. So, you know, you have a lot of challenges. I know it's difficult, you know, to keep this going. How could, if the listening public out here is saying, well, you know, this sounds like a wonderful ministry, how can we help A Miracle for Sure and the BARS program? How can they help?
Donations.
Okay.
We're a nonprofit. We don't charge for our services, that's what that means. Any man or female can come up to us and we will work diligently to help them. Like I said, donations of feminine products and clothing now. We're now accepting men's clothing. So like I said, shirts, ties, slacks, and shoes of any sizes, of any colors. It doesn't matter. We gladly take it.
Have the churches been involved with A Miracle for Sure in the BARS program?
Not as well as I would hope that they would.
Okay.
And that's an area that we need to get better in. You know, when
Teamwork
all
is-
else fails, you know, you should be able to find that hope and support. But we're in a financial crisis, and I get it, you know. But again, one of the things that I always say is that we're not asking you to step outside of yourself. We're asking you to do what you're called to do and just be you. So like Timothy said, we're always looking for donations specific to providing services and supports to our families. Everything that we do because we care. And it's time for others to support that caring.
Absolutely. You know, people often make the mistake, they say, well, just because I have a program that's going to help people, people are going to come in and going to be so happy to be helped. But sometimes it's difficult to help folks,
my
isn't
God.
it?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
my
very
goodness.
difficult to help certain people.
Yeah, and what is it? What is it that, why is it so difficult?
And it's that shame and guilt that they carry, you know. But I mean, people are different, and that's what I went to school to learn more about people and the dynamics of people. But when it's all said and done, when you get them into your space, once they become comfortable
That's it.
and trusting. You know, the system has its challenges, but when we break those barriers and then start having that casual conversation, I'm no different than you are.
That's right.
It becomes a relationship. So teaching people how to develop and establish relationships is key.
I think Timothy said that because one of the things you said was helpful for you in gaining employment was actually having someone else talk to an employer about you. And you had established a relationship with someone else. And I think that's what a lot of our community and those folks that are searching for jobs is finding someone that they can have conversations and get to know them on a more personal level, and then say, yeah, this is something I think you need to think about or consider.
Absolutely.
We have quickly run out of time, but this
Yeah.
has been a fast. I can't thank you enough for coming in and sharing,
Thank you
know,
for
part of
asking.
your life, but also the mission and ministry that you have
Absolutely.
now, called A Miracle for Sure and the BARS program. And so, you know, mother, son, you're doing a great job. Thank you so
indeed.
much for doing what you do, and thank you
you.
for supporting this program and also all the wonderful, you know, programs that we have, such as A Miracle for Sure and the BARS program here in the Harrisburg area. Where would we be without these wonderful, you know, ministries that are helping people every single day? Whatever you do, get in touch with them. Remember, it's www.amiracleforsure.org. And you can get in touch with Marsha Banks and also Timothy White. Have yourself a blessed day. Whatever you do, be a blessing to somebody else. And thank you for watching Life Esteem. Goodbye.